I'm Lester Martin, and this is one of a series of training sessions to help you as you prepare to retire, as you go through benefits to retire, and other mechanisms. This is simply designed to be helpful. Some elements of it relate to AT&T retirees. Most of the material is more generic and would be helpful for other individuals. On the screen, you can see a few comments that about what to do as you approach retirement, because retirement's a rather dramatic thing. Number one is I would suggest that you find a planner and have them build a financial planning model for you so you can understand the implications, so you can understand what you need to do as you are preparing for that date to retire, and that might be years ahead. Certainly as you get very close to retirement, they will build. Now, their intention will be to get you to transfer your money to them, your pension, your 401k, and you may choose to do that. I'm not trying to encourage or discourage it, but be prepared to get a model from them, get some indication of what their models say that you need in retirement, how you need to understand the financial implications of retirement. And the second thing is to realize the social implications of retiring, especially if you have kids, but even also if you don't have kids, because part of your day-to-day social has been working with people for perhaps 40 or 50 or 60 years, and that will change when you retire. You'll need to make special arrangements to see your friends, to do new things, and to do the things that you may have planned for retirement. You may find that you don't do all the things you plan to do for retirement because you're busy with other stuff. You need to understand the medical options, because almost everyone changes from having health insurance through their company or through the marketplace to having Medicare, and there are many Medicare options, and I will discuss more details on those Medicare options in another section. The next thing would be, as early as possible, to get long-term care insurance if you do not already have it. The cost of long-term care can be tremendous, and the earlier you get it, the lower the price will be per year. Of course, you'll be paid for more years, but more importantly, once you get ill and certain types of illnesses, you will no longer be able to get long-term care insurance, or it will cost much more. So you need to get it early and continue to pay for it. You also need to understand the Social Security rules and make a Social Security plan. This is particularly the case if, in all cases, if you are single, it's simpler. If you're married, there are lots of ways of coordinating your Social Security and your spouse's Social Security, and you may want to make sure that your spouse has paid into Social Security enough quarters to get full benefits. And if there's a divorce involved, then that changes Social Security plan. So there's a lot of factors there. Just some warnings of what to do as you approach retirement. Each year, I suggest that you probably should accelerate your savings plan, your 401k withdrawals up to the max of what might be allowed for the short interval. You never know when you're going to be retired. Almost everyone is told by their work or encouraged by their work unexpectedly that they will be retiring. And at that point, it's too late to try to accelerate your savings plan withdrawals up to the point where it may be as much as 20 or 25,000 that you can put in there. And most people put in perhaps 10% and over the year reach the maximum amount that they want to put into pre-tax. Well, if you find that you're going to retire in April, you only have 3 months, and therefore you may put in a small portion of the amount that you want to for pre-tax. With AT&T, the modified rule of 75 requires that you meet specific dates of ages, 50, 55, 65, and then in addition to that, you have to have 50 and 25 years, and 25 years, 55 plus 20 years, 65 plus 10 years, and you can't add them together. In other words, it's not like 52 plus 23. That doesn't do it. You have to meet the requirement. You have to meet the 50, the 55, and for some reason the modified rule of 75 does not include 60 plus 15. This is rather disturbing for many people, but it is not in the modified rule of 75, and I do not know why. If you're over 65, be sure to sign up for Medicare Part B as soon as appropriate. You'll be eligible for Medicare A when you turn 65, but you do need to sign up in order to get your Medicare card. You do specifically have to sign up for Medicare Part B. Now, some of the documents in AT&T say that even as an employee, you need to sign up for Medicare Part B at 65, and some say you do not. So be sure and get that clear. Signing up for Medicare Part B can be rather inexpensive or rather expensive, depending on how much you make. The minimum is about $105 a month per person, and yet if you make over $170,000 as a couple, then it would go up to perhaps as much as $150 or $200, $250, $300, $350 per month per person, based on how much you make. So that's something you need to be aware of. But it is important that when you actually know that you'll be retiring and that you'll start your health insurance, your Medicare, that you do get signed up for Medicare Part B as quickly as possible, because that takes a few weeks, and then you have to start the process of getting your Medicare supplement or your Advantage, and you cannot sign up for the supplement until your Medicare Part B is active. So if you have a short period of time, like is frequently the case, you need to be sure that you sign up for Medicare Part B as quickly as you know that you are going to be retiring and that you will be on Medicare insurance. Just in general about sources of information, there is a document, an AT&T retirement plan. It's very long, it's very comprehensive, and I strongly recommend you read it. I read it several times. You read it, you learn some things. You read it, and you learn some more things. And that is available from me. A version of it, I may not have the latest version of the retirement plan because I'm not sure that I have access to it. There is a constant flow of information on an AT&T retiree issues group on Facebook. You do have to sign up, and you do have to have been an employee or be an employee to get into that group. But once you get on there, you can ask and receive questions and answers, and it's really excellent. But there's a lot of trivial things that are repeated because there are over 7,000 members. So it can take a lot of your time. I would recommend that you get on there and get some of their primary documents. Dee Dee put some really incredibly good material on there on a regular basis. This is an AT&T group, and most of the material is related to AT&T benefits, although some of it is specific to Medicare. The AT&T Retiree Issues Group has a Word PDF with a ton of good information extracted, edited by a group of people on that group, and you should get a hold of that. If you're on that, then Dee Dee makes that readily available on a regular basis. And you should get either offline or online from socialsecurity.gov. Read the document several times just to make sure you understand all the options. And likewise with Medicare.gov, although some of the material from the Medicare.gov you'll find in this deck. All right, this is just the cover page on that AT&T Retiree Issues Reference Guide. And as it says, it covers a lot of interesting topics. You need to get a hold of that from me or from that retiree group. Some early retirement planning things that I would suggest. One is to there are various options for Social Security for a couple and other situations. Read the documents carefully. When you use the Social Security estimator, realize, and they don't make a focus of this, realize that it assumes that if you wait until full retirement age, you will continue to work at a similar salary. I'm sorry, that if you wait until full retirement age. So the thing will say, oh, okay, here's the amount you would be getting at full retirement age versus what you would get if you started now. But that's not what you're going to get at full retirement age if you, in fact, quit early and don't start taking it until full retirement age, and simply don't take it and don't work. Then the estimator will give you a number that's larger than you would get. If you quit working earlier, it will not be accurate for you. One should look at financial planning years before you retire, since you may be retired by your company and because there are financial changes that you may want to make before, such as transferring as much of the money as you can into Roth IRAs and or 401k Roths. A 401k Roth has some characteristics, levels that you're able to contribute to that you wouldn't be able to on a Roth, an external Roth IRA. So look carefully into it and suggest that be a source of some of your savings. And Roth also will be useful if you have post-tax money in your 401k and then you roll it over. That money that you've already paid tax on can go into a Roth, and the Roth allows you to continue to have the earnings on that as post-tax. So you're not having to pay tax again. It appears that there are various hybrid financial instruments. I don't have information in here. Those can tie together savings, life insurance, long-term care, remainder, and that's complex, but it can be more flexible. Some years ago, long-term care just had long-term care, and now it may have some remainder, it may have some life insurance, it may have a variety of things. Look into that. Early retirement planning is what we were just looking at. Warnings as you approach this. I've mentioned this. You may want to accelerate your savings plans withdrawal. And let me move on to another one. This and that, these are things that you just may not think about, but they can have a real impact on you. And so I want to mention them. I know they sound trivial, but believe me, they're not. If you're with AT&T and you've had a phone that had toggles, so you were able to put personal and corporate stuff on that smartphone, you need to remove that toggle before you leave AT&T or it's very difficult. It's rather difficult to remove it afterwards. So once they have turned off your accounts, then removing that toggle function. I had a problem in that I had removed it from my cell phone, but I had not removed it from a tablet that I had tucked away in a safe. And I got on there and found that toggle was still there, and I haven't dealt with that. Somebody suggested that as you retire, you might inform the insurance company premiums may go down for not using the car to work. Your AT&T email will go away when you leave AT&T, and this could be not only do you have information on there that may be important, but that you need to be sure and get. But also, many people, when you get on various apps and accounts and stuff, and if you forget your password, they will then send your PIN or send your information to a login to an email account. Well, if in fact that email account is AT&T email, and then you retire, then you will not be able to get that message from whatever it is, whatever app, whatever account, and it may be very difficult at that point to do that, and it's very difficult to remember what kinds of accounts use AT&T email as your recovery mechanism. So think about that, prepare. It can take weeks, and look to see what accounts might have that. If you have trouble getting phone numbers after you leave AT&T, that can be a problem if they were only on your contact information on your AT&T web phone or AT&T computer. And of course, if you have any private information, if for some reason you had tax information that you need the next year or the year in 2 years, 3 years, all of that's going to be gone. You will not have access to any of that once you lose your work computer. And also, some people may have trouble buying a home unless you pay cash once you've retired. I don't know the details on to what extent they allow loans based on your retirement assets and annuities. Probably pension annuities and Social Security, they will count. But your intention to use money from your assets, your IRAs or your savings plan may be restricted. And if you are tied in, and if you use LinkedIn, and if you got your connection to me, you probably have a very large LinkedIn network. Part of that is because I have an extraordinarily large LinkedIn network. So you may need to make direct connections to many of your contacts that you know in order to be able to maintain that large network. Because if something happens to me, if my Gmail account dies, if I die, if there's a disconnect, then you will have a much smaller network. Okay, that's the end of this section. There will be another similar type of a talk, and that will deal with health insurance details with Medicare. There are actually two. The first one has a breakdown of what your insurance would be depending on whether you're qualified, whether you're what your age is for you and your dependent. So that one is a small section that already exists. There will also be another presentation like this recorded for health insurance details that focuses more on Medicare. So thank you, and have a good retirement.